said to this car, don't brake again. It's only going to take it fucking literally, ain't it? So today, brake lines and a flaring kit, only to be used by a qualified mechanic. Better get qualified then. Well, I took this cover off, which goes up under there, and that is clearly where it's leaking, which is exactly where the fuel lines were leaking, which means either the fuel lines weren't leaking, or what I think was happening was the brake lines were leaking and the fuel lines were leaking, and brake fluid's corrosive, and that probably contributed to corrosion of the fuel lines. Either way, I've got to change that fuel line. Well, it's not a fuel line, it's a brake line, and I'm not looking forward to it. Excuse the flickering lights, but there is good news. That there is what we call a brake union, which basically means all that brake line what's up there, which is totally impossible to get to without removing half of stuff in the bonnet, is joined here. So I can take it off here, take it off out of here, which means we've got to revisit all of those stupid clamps, and then if we go to the back of the car, I'll meet you there. Yeah, I'll be there in a minute. Okay, it might be slightly longer in a minute because I've already lost the screws what old dad on, and yeah, well, they're gone. So at the back of the car, that's clearly the problem. Obviously comes from down the front there and underneath that tray, goes up here. Don't look clever there either. It comes up over the blooming subframe here, and then if we get the light round, like something like that, up the top here, right there, there's another join, another union. So basically I could take it off from there, and I can make a line which goes up, yeah, that's the line, all the way around here, all the way down there, up to that union there. Now what I was considering was, because these lines are all 30 years old, is like doing all of them. But then I've had a look where the other ones are, and they're up there somewhere. I know where they are, but I can't fucking see them. So what I'm going to do is that one. So before I start taking brake lines off, I have wondered whether I need to kind of depressurise the system so it don't like kind of spray everywhere. And that is probably why it says it should be done by a qualified mechanic. Luckily, I know a qualified mechanic, and I phoned him, and he said what you got to do is push your pedal to the floor and lock it there. So I've done that. If I had electric seats, that would be a whole lot easier, because I could just put that there and do that. But no, I've had to get the right position and kind of push it and wedge it, but it's in there. So what that does is that there's a piston inside here, which basically when you pump the pedal, that pumps, and then there is two outlets, one's for the front brakes, one's for the rear brakes. But the front brakes doesn't go to the front brakes because this car is stupid. It goes all the way to the back of the car to the ABS, and they get split, and then it comes all the way back down the car to the front, and then the rear, well, that one, that goes all the way to the ABS. But that doesn't get split in the ABS. No, that one comes out, and that one gets split separately after the ABS, and then it goes to the two rears. As you can see, my brake fluids is quite low now because some's come out on the floor. By some, I mean quite a lot. So I'm going to penetrate the shit out of that. Nice. And I'm also, if I can get it in, gonna penetrate the shit out of that. Yeah, that's not worked. Fucking subframe. Yep, that's got it. So what I've gone out and got here from Alphas, and this here, it's also from the Alphas Advanced range, which basically means it's for professionals. This here, and they put in its plastic case in here to make sure that you don't steal it. off the shelf, although you could just steal it with the plastic casing. It is a 10mm and a 12mm, and it's called a flare wrench because it's basically a ring spanner with a gap in it, so you can get it round the pipe, and then it's got basically like a 6-point socket instead of the sort of 12 points, so that it hopefully won't round off the rusted bolts. So that's how you get round the security. So it's on there and it's fucking tight, as I expected it to be. Yeah, gonna need more penetration. Try and penetrate it from every angle. That's done nothing. Ah. Yep, that's the one. No, I can't get it on there. So the hooking exhaust is in the way of me turning that, because I can't quite get it onto the next position. But theoretically it's loose enough to put a normal spanner on. I think I can probably just about get round that. It says. Maybe not. You're seriously telling me I'm going to have to take the exhaust off to do a fucking brake line? So I could just about, if I keep finding the right angles, do it with this little mini sort of open-ended 10mm, now that I've cranked it off with the specialist tool. This is taking quite some time, and also I'm not really sure whether this is going to spray out a load of brake fluid or not. I'll take this end off first, because I thought this one, not being underneath the subframe, or above the subframe even, would be the easier one. I've now decided that I'm not doing all of the brake lines, so I can tell you that for free. Yeah. When Matt Armstrong first started getting popular on YouTube, he used to make about 20 odd videos out of one car. I reckon I can make 20 videos out of one nut here. On the plus side, it's now doable by hand. A lot of threads on it. Well, for those, but we're not out. Oh yeah, we're out. We're out. Cool. So that's out-ish. Gravity's holding it up, but nothing's sprayed out. Apart from that. So either this is turning quite easy, or it's rounded. I don't really know which it is. What I'm going to do is put the little one on, if I can find it. See what's happening. I think it's turning. I'm not entirely sure. Either way, it's bloody stiff. So, good news is the gap feels bigger from the nut to the union joint thing, which means it must be loosening. So what's happened now is really fucking annoying. I thought I seem to have got the spanner stuck, and yeah, there's no way to leverage that. Nope, that's not working. That's fucking stuck in all now. Yep, that's out. Needs more penetration somehow. Right, so this has turned into a bigger job. That there, it's rounded off. It took me a while to work out whether it was rounded off or whether it was just turning very slowly, but that is definitely rounded off and it ain't coming off. So what I thought I'd do is I'd try and get this one off, and then I could take the joiner off with the pipe and then try and get it out off the car. And well, this one broke free, which was great. And then what it's done is it's twisted its own pipe instead, because the pipe's rusted to it, and it's split its own pipe. Now its own pipe goes over the top of the blooming diff here, and then if we come up here, you can see up there just about, there's a connection block where 5 connections come in. So you got the 2 from the front of the car from the master cylinder, front brakes, rear brakes. That's the feeds. They are the ones on this side, 2 on my left now, where you can see. Then you have got the front right, which is the one on my left, which basically goes back down to the driver's side front brake. Then the one in the middle, which you can't see because it's above the drive shaft and inaccessible, that one goes to a splitter somewhere which feeds the 2 rear brakes. Fuck knows where that is. And then the one on the other side of that, which you definitely can't see, which is somewhere above the diff and somewhere above the drive shaft, and it's totally inaccessible. That is the one what is basically going over to the one that I've just split over here. So we're not going to be able to connect up here to replace that line, which is a problem. If we get ourselves out from here, excuse the goggles, but you just look at this car the wrong way and something drops on you, and we come up here into the boot, you'll see this is basically where those lines are coming through. So that one there and that one there, the front and rear feed from the front, don't know which one's which. If you trace them you could find out because these are labelled. That one there is the front driver's side brake. That one there is the one that broke, and that there is for both the rears, and it's Y-split somewhere, probably over there somewhere where you can't see it. That one and that one you definitely can't get to from below. That one, well, you'd be lucky if you did get to it. Those ones there are very tight. And well, if you take this up, what you'd see is these bolt into this thing here, and then that goes down below, and then that goes to 90, and then they're all bolted on from this way here. Thank you, Nissan. So what I'm going to do is, if you look at the ABS unit, you can see these labels, right? So that's front left, so that's obviously going to the front left brake. That's the one, basically that is the one that I need to connect to. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically connect direct from here, then run all new lines. So this would be the front left, that would be the front right brake, that's the rear brakes, and basically the two down here are the feeds for the master cylinder, front and back. So basically I'm going to run all new lines, and I'm going to come in somewhere, I'm going to drill some holes, and I'm going to come in somewhere that is accessible from up here and down below, because that would be sensible, and then brand new lines. So this is going to be a longer video. So just somewhere, basically cut that, can't see it, I've cut this brake line off on that side because the bolt won't come out, obviously, with this little cutter tool here. This little cutter here, this was £5 from Tool Station. You can get these for £4 from Tool Station, but guess what, the £4 version, which is exactly the same but doesn't have the branding on, that wasn't in stock. And I did initially go to Screwfix, and Screwfix, they wanted 25 quid for that. Exactly the same one. So what we're going to do is you take off these brackets one by one and relieve the brake line of being up here. Because yeah, you see it's leaking there. So we're going to open that up somehow. Take that out of there. Yep, I cable tied that on there, so I'm going to have to take that off. So all the clips are out, and well, that's out down that end, dangly dangly. So just got to, yep, that's nice, just got to go down that end and relieve that cable tie. There she is. So yep, that is my brake line. So this is the union, that end, which was the end what the pipe was turning with it. That end has come out with the spanner, because obviously I can get all around it now because it's not in a car. This end is the end, and what I thought was rounded off, and you could see, well, you can't see now, but that yeah, it's definitely rounded off. Let's see if this is a good idea. Well, I've just reinvented the lathe. So I've decided I've got to go full send, because I've looked at the brake lines and most of them are corroded. So I've got to do all of them anyway. Yeah, that's from there. So this block thing there is totally inaccessible from below, apart from these three here. You can see them, but you can't really get to them very well. That one and that one, you've got no chance whatsoever. And this doesn't seem to move underneath. So I've got a couple of options. One option is this goes down here and goes 90. So basically, if I was to get these off, get an angle grinder and cut a section out there, I might be able to basically do them from above. That's one option, but then will that compromise this cross member? I don't know, because I'll only take about 10 mil out the bottom. Or the other option is, if I can get all these off and try and work out how this block comes out, because if I break lines, it don't matter anyway, they're fucked anyway. Then what I could do is get this block out, and that leaves a trap in the car, which is about the only place the blooming lines can come through. And then what I could do is try and reposition this internally in here, so that I could access it in the future and then run new lines up into here, into that. And then obviously I'll have to replace these lines then as well. So what we are doing is taking these off very slowly. So that's off, and what I've discovered is there's a secondary floor here, which will obviously be there as well. So if I cut that out, I ain't accessing that from above, but obviously it's not connected here now, so I could try and work out somehow down below how it's connected, and how it's, like, you know, bracketed on, and hopefully try and get it off and then reassess. So what I think's happening, I think this is sitting on a shelf here, and then obviously it's accessed through the front of the shelf there. So if I can pull it back that way, I could probably get the bolts from above. But at the moment it's fixed, and what I've discovered underneath, there appears to be a bolt there and there, well, a nut, hold it to a shelf. So here's one I took out, which was here, which was very awkward anyway, and I sheared it. But yeah, it's out. There's another one what's there, which is really awkward to get to. So if we come round here, and we go under here, we've got that up there ready there, and we've got the adapter to go to the big boy, and I'm going to try and get that out, and then hopefully that will slide back with the lines on, so I can get to the lines, take them off and go from there. That's out. That one come out without taking the bolt out with it. So let's see if my theory was right, and at this, no, that's still attached somehow, not entirely sure. Well, obviously it's got lines on it, so obviously they're not helping. But yeah, it's attached to something somewhere. So I've been back underneath, didn't film that because it's a pain in the ass, and I've worked out what the twats have done. Yes, this is in a shelf, and it's bolted to the bottom of the shelf there. However, the side of this where it's on the 90 where they're coming in isn't that side there. That is butted up against basically a piece of metal, because what's happening is this is folding down here, the boot is, the boot floor, so it's going through the side of the boot floor into this block. So the block is bolted to the blooming thing, not only with those two bolts there, but with the actual fittings what I can't fucking get off. But I can see where it is running along this line. So these fittings that I can't get off are literally there, 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 there and there. So what I could do is I could basically come out here like that with a cutter, and then basically just get them from above. So before we go cutting shit, that doesn't want to be in there, what we're going to do is we're going to drill a test hole here between the two fittings, hopefully, to see if it lines up with the fittings. That'll be a while. And there we have it. Drill bit, bit light. Drill bit is dangling down between the two fittings, which basically means if I cut out about 10mm strip there, I should be able to get the fittings from above. So what I discovered is the two bolts holding that down, they weren't holding that down, I don't know what they did. But all the fittings, they actually are, the holes in the actual frame here, not this, the actual boot frame, are big enough diameter to allow the fittings to slide through. And what there is about here, or what there was, is a bolt there, which basically if you undo that bolt, this will slide into here. Well, it will if this bends back up, which we'll have to deal with now, which will make hopefully make all those fittings accessible. However, this bolt here, which you'll do to make the fittings accessible, is inaccessible. You can't get to it from below because you can get your fingertip on it and scratch all your hand up, but you can't get nothing on it and you can't turn nothing on it. However, you can get it from above, which I did. So this is now free. They're slid through there. I just need to bend this back up, which I've got to get something to get under there so that this could slide more that way, and then I could hopefully bring those through and take them off. Well, I'll cut that with a grinder to relieve it because it ain't coming out. And somehow, not quite sure how, I'll probably have to get the grinder out again and nip those off there. So this does come forward now, but not enough to get a line wrench, because you can see the nuts but you can't see the lines, and that is because the lines are attached to it, which means it's under tension from the lines, which is a problem because the idea of moving it forward is to get the lines off, and you can't move it forward without the lines off it. Yeah, but that one there, that's basically that's loose. It goes up the back here because I cut that anyway because that's knackered. The middle one here, this one is for the rear brakes, and what it does is it goes underneath this to a T which goes to both brakes, and basically that T is bolted to the chassis, so I need to go down there and remove that because obviously that should give me some movement. That one there is going to be going down to the front right somewhere, and these are the two feeds. So then basically hopefully there might be enough play in these because these are quite long to pull it forward once I've got that one, the bracket, the T, what is connected to that, unbolted from the chassis. So this is what we're talking about. That's going over to that brake, that's going over to that brake, and then there's another one that comes in here and loops round and goes up there into that connection there. And all we've got to do is hello, I'm a spanner. We've got to put this through from this side and keep turning it for a long time. So I'm not going to get the line wrench on this, so you have to use a different method. So yeah, this is why this one needs replacing, because that kink there is what happened when I tried to undo the fixing. Yeah, that's too fat to come out the gap. Yes. So that's out. I had to use an unconventional method and hammer all these down with the chisel because you just couldn't pull it through that way enough to get the line wrench over the lines, and you can't get the line wrench over the lines on that one, or that one from below. These ones you can you can look at them, but you can't really turn them. So that's what has to happen. Hopefully I can get these off and then clean this up and reuse this, but I'm not putting it back. I'm not putting it back in there. I'm going to come in through here, but I'm going to try and come up with an idea where this mounts, maybe up here, like so it's accessible if I ever need to change a brake line. Don't drop that in there, Simon. Yep, you're stiff. 1 out. 2 out. So I'm turning this one, but I can only get on the very end of it for some reason. Ah, we're on now. Now they're stuck. Now this one's got a stiffy. And she's loose. Bit more that to help. In the meantime, whilst we're waiting, I'll try and get on there. Don't come out. Yep. Obviously coming up like that's made that come out, but you have to get this in the right position that you can get it on. And it's, well, either there or the other place. Let's see if we can move it from here. Now we've got some more leverage, possibly. At some point I'll be able to do this by hand, and that'll be now. Well, they are out. So just got to clean that up. Anyway, I'm going to call it for this one because this is going to take quite some time, so it might be a couple of videos. Thank you for watching. In the next one, I'm going to get the rest of the fuel lines off the bottom of the car and then start fitting new ones. Please consider a like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.